Hello and welcome back to the Google Workspace Update podcast from Strawberry 7. My name is Adam.
And my name is Adam.
We're here every week to bring you all of the latest updates happening in the world of Google Workspace. This podcast is available in audio format from your regular podcast provider and also in video format from our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Strawberry7.
Coming up on the show today,
we've got quite a packed show for you again today. We've got 13 updates today, so Adam and I are going to whiz through these. We've got updates to Admin, Gmail, Google Sheets, Admin, Google Calendar, Admin, Google Chat, Google Meet, Google Docs, Marketplace, Admin, Google Drive. So quite a lot to admin, but hey, we've got a lot of admin listeners, so I'm sure you're all excited to hear those. As always, there is a link in the podcast or video description to the document that we read from. This document contains some more detailed information, relevant links, some lovely pictures, and even some moving graphics showing you these features in action. So let's get to it.
on with the show. First one, all to do with admin, a little bit to do with Gmail. So you can now allow certificate mismatches for client-side encrypted messages. So in some cases, the email address associated with a user's certificate might be different from their primary email address. This is known as a certificate mismatch. Admins can now opt to allow certificate mismatches, which means their end users will be able to decrypt and read messages with a mismatch. It should be noted that Google recommends allowing certificate mismatches only when the feature is absolutely required for your organization.
Okay, I mean, interesting that they've allowed this as a possibility. They must have had some feedback on certain situations where this was, I guess, completely unavoidable. There is obviously a security concern here, which is why Google said only when it's absolutely required. But it is good to give admins this option because I can't immediately think of a situation where this would be unavoidable, but I'm sure that there are situations out there where this is unavoidable, where you're dealing with emails and people have lots of different email accounts now and their primary one might be different. So if you are thinking about enabling this, just heed Google's warning here about only doing it when it's absolutely required, and I'd really think about whether you do need to have this. The other important thing I would say to any admins listening is if you are doing this, I think it's going to be very important to support your end users in how this is presented and when they should do this and when they shouldn't. Maybe, for example, giving them a list of users where this error might come up or the certificate mismatch might come up and say, look, only do it for these people, not for anybody else. I can see you've put a link in here, Adam, for the help center about this. I assume that's kind of maybe got some pictures or something like that about what this looks like, or maybe some text description, hopefully, about what that looks like. So that would be good. But there is a link in there. What's the rollout here, please, Adam, and who's this available for?
Okay, so rolling out to rapid release right now. Launch to scheduled release is planned for October the 9th, so that's probably around the time that this podcast goes out, actually. And this update is available to all Google No, not available to everyone, sorry. This is available to Google Workspace Enterprise Plus, Education Plus, and Education Standard customers. And as you mentioned, I've also added a link to Google's Help Center for anybody that would like to learn more about allowing certificate mismatches for client-side encrypted messages within Gmail. It may also be an idea for anyone out there because, yeah, as you mentioned, definitely only approach this if there is a serious issue that does actually need to be addressed in the first place, but potentially there's an alternative solution out there just because there's an issue that needs addressing. You don't have to always go straight through it. Maybe you could work around it somehow and maybe there'd be a suitable alternative.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually, Adam. Maybe a third-party system that might allow people to sort of work within the confines of certificate matching so that they're not having to enable this mismatch. That's a very good point there to remind people about that. And as you read out there, really only at the highest level, apart from education where it's open a little bit more, which makes sense that we've seen that with this client-side encryption, that's open a little bit more in education, which is very nice to see. Thank you, Adam. What have we got next, please?
Up next, so stemming on from that update, so different certificates for signing and encrypting messages in Gmail. So if your organization uses different certificates for signing and encrypting messages, you can now use the Gmail CSE API to upload different encryption and signature public certificates for each user.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. So this is a sort of follow-on to basically almost say that they've changed the API to support what the previous update was, where you can upload those sort of certificates for each person as you need to. Those, I take it, it's those individuals where there is a certificate mismatch or something like that. So that's good to hear. I think the update, the rollout and the availability is the same. Is that right, as the previous one?
Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, yeah, available from October the 9th, yeah.
Yeah, that's looking the same. Okay, great. And I see you've added a link in there. Again, anybody who's interested in doing that, I'd recommend that you check that link out, because I had a little look at the previous link and there are some quite good instructions in there as an admin. As to
No pretty pictures, though.
No pictures, no pretty pictures or moving graphics, unfortunately. There didn't seem to be that much about what the end user sees, so I'd recommend also some testing in your environment if you want to do something like that. Thank you, Adam. What have we got next, please?
Up next, Google Sheets. So, improved paste value experience in Google Sheets. So previously, when pasting a number in Google Sheets using paste special, values only, the content pasted was only the text from the original range of cells. For example, for the date the 21st of September 2023, paste values would paste the date serial number of 45190. To improve upon this feature, the default for paste values for numbers will include values and the number format, meaning all of your numbers will retain their formatting as you're working in Sheets.
That's really nice. That's a nice little improvement. Again, they've obviously had some feedback on people who've gotten very confused about that. I can imagine most of our clients would sort of paste that in and go, huh?
I think I've seen something very similar before when I've had some mixed data that has included dates, and one feature that I use quite often is just to remove all formatting, and then any dates I see turn into a random number. I'm just like, I was just expecting the number of the date instead of I don't know, it's like 21st of January with the word January written down or something along those lines. I was just expecting the number date, but it didn't. It gave me a totally random number, which made me think, are there just like serial numbers for dates out there? So if you have your column that is set, and the formatting is set to a date, and then you just type in 45190, will that just automatically turn into the 21st of September 2023?
That's a good question.
I've been meaning to try that throughout the week. Been a bit busy, so I actually haven't. But yeah, I'm curious if it works that way.
God, you got a pretty exciting life there, Adam. I would say that no. I don't think it would, but it is interesting to see how there is a serial number kind of in the background, essentially, which is one of those things within a computer that makes perfect sense in computer land. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but it makes no sense whatsoever as an end user. It's like the thing that always happens in Excel. Unfortunately, Google Sheets doesn't seem to work in the same way. When you're doing percentages and things like that, and you'll do something and you'll put in like 10%, and Excel does this weird thing where it converts it to like 0.001%. And I got somebody to explain it on a forum once, and I thought, oh God, I think you wear an anorak. It's like, it was very, no offense to anorak wearers, please don't stop listening to us. It was very technical and made sense in kind of very technical land, but I thought, yes, I understand that in terms of mathematics and technicality, but what you actually want to do is set the format of a cell to percentage, type in 10, and it come up with 10%. That's what you actually want to do.
Yes. The only thing that I have to comment on that is I had a brand new anorak delivered last night.
I'm sure your anorak is very stylish.
It's red,
Adam.
It's lovely, it's waterproof, it's functional.
You know what? You wear your anorak with pride, Adam. Lovely. Okay, and this is available to everybody, right?
Yes, that's right. So available now to all Google Workspace customers and users with a personal Google account.
Great. I'm sure admins will really appreciate that to alleviate support issues for their end clients who have been doing that and not been able to figure out what on earth is going on. Very nice update. What have we got next, Adam?
Okay, next up, so configure and bind multiple Android Enterprise Mobility Management providers. So you can now bind multiple Android Enterprise Mobility Management providers, or EMM, to your Google Workspace account. Previously, you could only bind a single EMM within your organization. This update gives you more control over how devices in your organization are managed. So specifically, it offers more flexibility. You can choose the right EMM for each user group in your organization. For example, you can use one EMM for engineers and another for retail staff. It also offers enhanced control, so you can now have multiple instances of the same EMM provider, for example, a cloud instance and an on-premises instance to manage different sets of users. And it also offers easier migrations, so you can now run multiple EMMs in parallel, allowing them to perform phased migrations from an old EMM to a new EMM over time.
This is really, really cool. What a fantastic update this is. Not something, again, that we use personally. I'm also used to them being referred as MDMs rather than EMMs. I'm more used to mobile device management rather than enterprise mobility management, but I don't know whether that's a difference between Europe and US, or whether maybe that's just a Google thing that they thought, oh, we're going to have our own name for it because we're Google. But regardless, I'm familiar with them being called MDMs, and they're the same thing of managing these mobile devices. This is really, really cool to see that you can put multiple ones in here. I can imagine for people who are in that situation, wanting to do, and great examples as well that Google have provided, wanting to do migrations and wanting to sort of offer it to different user groups. I think this will be a dream for any admin in that situation. Really fantastic update. Really like this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, anything like this, then we do love to see it. I also have a few additional details on this update. So for private apps, Google strongly recommends that admins familiarize themselves with how binding multiple EMMs or MDMs will impact availability of private apps. You can find more information from Google's Help Center regarding creating web apps and distributing private apps, and I've added links to both of that within our document. Also a bit more regarding the Google Play Store. If you're binding multiple EMMs or MDMs to a Google Workspace or Google Cloud Identity account, you must use your EMM or MDM iframe and not play.google.com/work to access the managed Google Play Store.
That's really good information, Adam. Thank you for providing that additional information. There's a little bit about getting started here as well, right?
Yes, so for the admins to get started, to configure EMM providers within the Google Admin Console, navigate to Devices, Mobile and Endpoints, Settings, Third-Party Integrations, then Manage EMM Providers. You can also visit Google's Help Center to learn more about binding multiple EMM providers and enable it for your organizational units. I've added a link for that within our document. For the end users, though, there is no end user impact or action required because this is for the admins, like quite a lot of the updates we have this week.
Very admin heavy. And this is available to everybody and now, right?
Yes, available to everybody, everywhere, all at once, right now.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Adam. What have we got next, please?
Up next, another admin update. So you can now configure Android zero-touch devices directly from the admin console. So again, this is kind of stemming on from the previous update a little bit. So Google are integrating the Android zero-touch iframe with the admin console for a better, more seamless experience for admins. Zero-touch devices are devices which have been purchased from zero-touch resellers and used in company-owned mode. Directly from the admin console, admins will be able to set Google Workspace provided configurations for zero-touch devices. They can also link Workspace accounts with zero-touch accounts, ensuring devices will always enroll under Google Endpoint Management. They'll also have the ability to unlink accounts if needed. Note that one Workspace account can be linked to multiple zero-touch accounts, but a zero-touch account can be linked to only one Workspace account. Need to get you to think for one moment just to get your head around that. This update makes it easier for admins to specify a zero-touch configuration for their company-owned devices directly from the admin console. For enterprise mobility management partners, or EMMs, this also minimizes the number of Google APIs and portals they'll need to interact with as well. Zero-touch devices will always enroll an account according to the GEM provided configuration. Users cannot bypass this even if they factory reset the devices. Google strongly recommends that you continue to use the zero-touch customer portal if needed to.
Yeah, this is really great. I think we're going to start looking into this zero touch. We've used something similar with iPads when we.
I was just thinking
Jam.
this is very, very similar to the solution that we use with iPads, and the previous update where it was saying about you have to go to this specific Google Play Store as well. That's basically the same experience that we have with the iPads. We don't just go to iTunes or to the Mac app Store and purchase whatever we want. We go through a specific portal to make them available to then be pushed out to everybody or as we see fit.
Yeah, that's right. And the zero touch, I absolutely love it. For anybody who's a bit unfamiliar about what zero touch means, it basically means that you can buy a device, like say a Chromebook, for example. You can give the reseller that you're buying it from certain information about your workspace, in this case your workspace account and your domain. And what that means is that when the device arrives, before it's even come out the packet, it's all set up for your organisation. It's all set up and ready to go. So you can, in theory, send that directly to the end user as a sealed device. Fantastic for if you've got, well, like during COVID, for example, when we had, students that were off-site, you can send the device directly to the end user. They get it as a sealed device. They open it up, they switch it on, and in this case, it will go, hey, you need to sign in to whatever school it would be assigned to for us, for example. And it's locked to that particular site. That's what zero touch means. And that comes in many different flavors. But essentially it means we as admins don't have to touch the device. Everything's configured on the console. So I really like to see this integrated. And I think we'll probably look into this, Adam, at some point. We'll look into sort of maybe whether we can do this with our Chromebooks.
Yes, definitely, because lots of our schools are now using some Google devices in one form or another. Chromebooks are definitely a very popular option, and as I say, so we've had great success with our MDM that we use for iPads, and if we had a very similar experience for Chromebooks, that would just be great. And as it mentioned, one of the best things is that even if somebody factory resets it, if somebody thinks that they're trying to be clever, it's like, oh no, I'll set it up as my own device. It's like, well, surprise, no you can't. Because literally, as soon as you turn it on, it's like configured based on the serial number, maybe the MAC address, maybe there's other things that literally cannot be changed from the device. Then the moment you turn it on, it automatically says, I belong to this organization and I will be configured however that organization has been set, and there's basically no way around that unless you are the admin in control of everything. And so it's great for situations just as you said, or even if it's in an office when some people work from home, just get their new laptop shipped directly to their home address and you don't need to interact with them in person or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's so much quicker for the user as well. I mean, in theory, you can even have a system, if you've got it slick enough, where the user can actually order a device themselves, and it's going out, it's pre-configured. It's almost not touching IT if you've got it sort of slick enough. The other thing I wanted to point out here is we are talking about Chromebooks, but this update is referring to Android Zero Touch. Now, the thing is, there's a bit of a crossover here, isn't there? Because Chromebooks kind of run Android apps, so sometimes they are sort of Android devices. But we just want to point out to any listeners, we don't know whether this applies to Chromebooks. It does specify Android here, so it might only be kind of Android devices, but it would be nice if it applies to Chromebooks as well.
Yes, to be honest, I'm still quite happy with it applying to Android, because the school that I was at today, they happen to have several trolleys. I think they had about 60 or so Android tablets, and they are not managed in this kind of way, and it would be great to get them managed. It would save me a lot of admin time, definitely. So, we love to see things like this.
Great. What's the getting started here, please?
Okay, so for the admins out there, you can visit Google's Help Center if you'd like to learn more about setting up automatic zero-touch enrollment for Android. I'll definitely be checking that one out. And a note on that zero-touch devices will use Cloud DPC as the management agent. And for more information, you can see the Android Management API documentation, which I've added a link to within our document.
Great. And what's the rollout here, and who's this going to be available for, please?
So rapid release and scheduled release, it's available right now, which is great. The availability, so this is available to Google Workspace Business Plus, Enterprise Essentials, Enterprise Essentials Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Fundamentals, Education Standard, Teaching and Learning Upgrade, Education Plus, Frontline Starter, and Frontline Standard customers. It's also available to Cloud Identity Premium customers.
It's just really nice to see that they've opened it up to education. I was hoping that they would, and even if you're on Education Fundamentals, you get access to this. So that's really nice to see.
Yeah, I'm almost a bit. I think you're literally about to say. I'm almost a bit surprised that business was not included. But maybe if they were the kind of business that would require something like this, then maybe they'd be more on the enterprise level, and lots of enterprise has been included.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that like Business Plus makes a lot of sense because we're on Business Standard. Some of our business customers are on Business Standard, and I think that really you would be on Business Plus if you were at the scale where you were wanting to roll these devices out that quickly. So that does make a lot of sense. Thank you, Adam. What have we got next, please?
Up next, Google Calendar. So new Google Calendar appointment scheduling features. So appointment scheduling allows you to manage your availability and let customers and partners book time with you directly within Google Calendar via a personal booking page. To improve upon the current experience, Google is adding 5 to 14-minute appointment slots that are customizable. Previously, the minimum duration was 15 minutes. When I first read that, I was like, only 5 to 14 minutes? That's not very long. But that's in addition to what is already available. There's also going to be the option to hide or show appointment schedules within the calendar view on web. Google hopes that these highly requested features help you set more relevant meeting durations and tailor your calendar view to match your preferences.
Oh, I've got to say, that little bit that you've dropped in there about being able to hide the appointment scheduling, what a godsend that is going to be, because I use Google Appointment Scheduling, and I actually brought this up on one of the previous podcasts where we were talking about this. Obviously, the Google AI bot is doing a good job listening to our podcast and hanging on our every word, because I said at the time, the appointment scheduling is cool, but it needs quite a lot of work. And, well, it needs a bit of work. And one of the things that was really annoying about it was when you set all of your schedules up, those are in your calendar. They look like events in your calendar each day. So your calendar just ends up full of all this stuff. And it's really hard to see whether it's actually a booking or whether it's just the appointment scheduler saying, here's the schedule you've got for 9 to midday or something like that, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's hard to describe, but when you see it, it just really clutters your calendar up and you don't want to see it. But you couldn't untick the calendar because then you couldn't see the bookings that people had made on that appointment schedule. So that bit is a godsend. I love that. I think that's going to be great.
Okay, yes. Yeah. That definitely sounds great. To us, I'm almost surprised you noticed, Adam, because your calendars are so busy all the time anyway. It's like, could you even see the thick through the trees or something along those lines? But yeah, it's a good update.
Yeah, there's a saying in there somewhere. Yeah, I really like this. And adding in the shorter durations, again, not something that I would use. I don't really do bookings under 15 minutes, but, that's good for people who do want to do that quick 5-minute team huddle or something like that. Maybe people want to do. So it's nice that Google have added that in.
Or potentially for students. For in some situations, I don't know, maybe if they just need a quick chat or quick clarification about something and they don't need a 15-minute appointment, just a quick 5 minutes.
Do you know what this would be good for? Parents' evening.
This could be an option for Parents' Evening.
Because they're like 5-minute slots, aren't they? So they're really short. So yeah.
Well, 10, 15 minutes.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, the parents' evening that I was setting up yesterday, it was a combination of 10-minute and 15-minute appointments, depending on the age and things. However, that is still a very good point, actually, because maybe, say, parents just want to have a quick chat with a teacher just to maybe clarify something, or just I'm sure they'd have a reason that maybe they'd want to speak with their child's teacher, and then just a quick 5-minute appointment is all they need.
Yeah, really nice. Very, very nice. What's the getting started here, please?
Okay, so for the admins of this one update this week, there is no admin control for this feature. Everything else is, but not this one. But for the end users out there, to set up your appointment schedule, open Calendar. At the top left, click Create, select Appointment Schedule, and then set up the schedule. To customize appointment slot durations, create or edit an appointment schedule. Under the appointment duration, select the drop-down, click Custom, and enter the duration. You can always visit Google's Help Center if you'd like to learn more about setting your appointment duration, and I've added a link to our document for that. Appointment schedules will be shown by default. To hide appointment schedules, go to the View switcher and deselect Show Appointment Schedules. And again, you can visit Google's Help Center if you'd like to learn more about creating an appointment schedule, link in the document. But a note on that, if appointment schedules are hidden, you can create a schedule or add time to an existing schedule appointments, which will reappear in your calendar view.
That's great. I've actually just gone to my calendar and done that now. I've just hidden it, so that is fantastic. Thank you, Adam. What's the rollout pace and availability here?
Okay, so rapid release. There's going to be a full rollout for this update, so 1 to 3 days for feature visibility, which started on October the 3rd. So that'll definitely be out for people on that tier by the time this podcast comes out. Scheduled release, again, full rollout, 1 to 3 days for feature visibility, which is starting on October the 16th. And this update is going to be available to Google Workspace Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Fundamentals, Education Standard, Education Plus, their Teaching and Learning Upgrade, non-profits, Workspace individual subscribers, and users with a personal Google account.
That's most people. So yeah, that's quite interesting that they've thrown personal in there, but that's very good to see. Lovely, thank you, Adam. What's next, please? Could it be another admin update by any chance?
It might just be another admin update. So you can now navigate to Chrome browser management faster in the admin console. So within the Google admin console, Google has added a dedicated category for Chrome browser admin capabilities in the left-hand navigation menu. Previously, you would have to go to Devices, then Chrome, then Manage Browsers as a Chrome browser admin, and this makes navigating to these specific pages faster. From here, you'll be able to take actions such as configuring and enforcing Chrome policies, and view reports on Chrome browsers in your organization, and more. I will just add, there was a link. I've removed the link because I decided it was silly. The link, it basically said that here is a link that you can just pin to your taskbar to get there much quicker, and then I clicked on it and it did not take you there. It just took you to an article that kind of gave you an overview of what the admin console is. I was like, oh, but the link literally said pin this link to your taskbar to kind of get there much quicker, but that's not what it did. So I know I've mentioned it, but I decided to leave that off the document.
Oh no, that's a good point, because somebody might stumble on that in the help center or something like that. And the Google AI bot, of course, is hanging on our every word, so that will go and update it, no doubt. This is really great. This is really nice. We've actually said internally before as a team that the navigation through that menu is really weird. You know, you kind of go in through Devices and then Chrome and then Settings, but that isn't Chrome Settings, it's like Chrome Device Settings. It is a bit all over the place, so it's really nice to see that Google have made this clearer. And there is a graphic here for anybody wanting to check out what that actually looks like. You've kind of got Chrome browser, and then under there you've got guides, managed browsers, things like that. So very, very nice to see this. What's the getting started here, please, Adam?
Okay, so for the admins, this update will be automatically available. Customers can sign up for Chrome OS and Chrome browser management and use Admin Console to manage their devices and browsers. I also just wanted to mention, so we have discussed before that every now and then Google will move things around within the Google Admin Console. almost always for the better. This definitely looks like that it is one of those cases where it is for the better. But if you're suddenly going into the admin console and you find that you can no longer find the option that you are looking for, there is the search option available within the admin console, which is actually very good as well. So this update should make everything a lot easier for everybody, but there is also the search options available as well.
Yeah, great reminder. Thank you, Adam. That's a good reminder for anybody listening. What's the rollout pace and availability here, please?
So, rapid release and scheduled release, full rollout is started on October the 3rd. And this is going to be available to all Chrome browser cloud management and Google Workspace customers.
Okay,
So
right,
basically everyone that has access to the admin console.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Shockingly.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam. What's the next update, please?
Up next, a mini break from the admin side. We have a Google Chat update. So improved search results in Google Chat. So last year, Google announced improvements to the Google Chat search experience on web and mobile that help you find more accurate and customized search suggestions and results. Now, when searching in chat, machine learning models will use the search terms most recent chat conversations in direct messages and spaces, and other factors to help you find more accurate and relevant chat message results.
Well, hey, anything that helps you find what you're looking for. And Google, they've kind of got a reputation of being quite good at search. So hopefully that will be very good. Anything that improves the search in chat is good in my book. We use chat a lot. We search in chat quite a bit, or I certainly do. So this will be very nice. There's a moving graphic here as well, which isn't showing too much. It's kind of just showing a toggle option where you can change between most recent and most relevant. But maybe there's I can see some additional details here, Adam, so I'll let you go on to those.
Okay, so by default, search results will be sorted by relevance, but you have the option to change the result sorting to recency by clicking on the sort dropdown. If you unselect only conversations I'm in at the top of the results page, you'll see matching results from spaces that you're not a part of, but have the option to join. For those spaces, you can preview and join them from the search results page itself.
That's a bit of an interesting feature, that you can search spaces that you're not in but have the option to join.
I know, right? I wonder if that would actually make things a bit more confusing, because you wouldn't intentionally be searching for something because you don't know what conversations had been had in there. But if they show you results anyway, then you might just be like, what am I looking at?
Maybe they're thinking, yeah, I understand exactly what you mean. Maybe their thinking is that in the larger organisations, you might be searching for a particular project or a reference on a particular project, and it's kind of being discussed in another space that you're maybe not, like it says, a member of, but you do have the option to join. So it's saying, look, it's over here, you can join that and have a look at it.
I do love, though, actually, which is very clear within the moving graphic, it was possibly there already. I've not used the search for a little while. After I initially, going back some time, I didn't get the results that I wanted, and then I just kind of stopped using it, really.
It was dead to you, Adam.
Basically. But I can see, just like when you're searching within Google Drive, you now can select or refine your search a bit more from within a date range, or whether it has a file, or whether it has a link. Things like that I know will definitely be really helpful, because I think the things that I would generally most search for would be, let's say, if it's a picture, if it's a link, if it's a document that I knew had been shared to me, especially if it was some time ago. Then if you just say, show me all the pictures that this person sent me, then you're sure to find your results much quicker that way.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and that's a very good point to make for our listeners there. Encourage anybody who's interested to check out Moving Graphic. You'll see those sort of search criteria, quick finds that Adam's talking about there. Lovely, thank you, Adam. What's the getting started here?
So for the admins, there's no admin control for this feature, but for the end users, you can visit Google's Help Center if you'd like to learn more about searching for Google Chat messages. There's a link in the document for that.
Or they can just look at our lovely moving graphic in the document. Thank you, Adam. What's the rollout pace and availability here, please?
So this feature is available now on This feature is available now on web, Android, and iOS, and is available to all Google Workspace customers, because as we've mentioned before, everyone has access to Google Chat.
Wow, they've just rolled it out across all of that, web, Android, and iOS simultaneously. It's quite unusual that we sort of see that, so that's good to see. Thank you, Alan. What have we got next, please?
Up next, Google Meet. So presented content will be captured in high definition in Google Meet recordings. So for recorded meetings in Google Meet, Google are increasing the maximum resolution for shared content from 720p to 1080p. This will help ensure crisper text and visuals for presented content, creating a better viewing experience. Note that the rest of the meeting capture will remain at a maximum of 720p. That bit's slightly disappointing.
Oh, that's so disappointing. People, our lovely listeners, can't see our lovely faces in crisp 1080p. It will only be if we're presenting stuff. We can spend the whole podcast just presenting a picture of you and me, Adam, and then they'll see it in 1080p. Okay, well, this is really good. I mean, a really good improvement. I've always thought that Google Meet recording is a little bit lacking, and it would be really nice if Google put a little bit more control in there. For example, when we record this meet, I would be more than happy if the meeting file was 4 times the size, but we could record it in 1080p. You've got a fast enough internet connection to cope with that. I've got a fast enough internet connection to cope with that now. Haha, I went from 8 meg to 1,000. Woohoo, that was a good day. So it would be nice if we could have a little bit more control in there. Google added that control a while ago to have 1080p on your video if you knew that you could get that. But the problem is, it's only when you're in the meeting. It's nothing to do with recording, as it indicates here. So I think this is a really nice advancement. It would be nice if they kind of gave that as an option for when you're recording all the time for the video and things like that as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, just because I'm just a little bit nerdy, I'm really curious what the restrictions are. As in, why, if everyone is broadcasting in 1080, then why is that not captured in the recording?
If I had to guess, I think it's to do with file size. I think Google are thinking to themselves, there's probably a bit of processing. There's probably a bit in that, because processing a file to 1080p is maybe going to take more computing power, and that will scale up and cost Google more money. I think mainly, though, it's to do with file size, because I think Google really like the fact that you can have... I mean, when we do these podcast recordings and we record for an hour, the file size is only about 160 meg or something like that. It's very, very small and lightweight. So I think they're trying to keep the file size down. But that's why it would be nice to have it as an option, because like I say, I don't care if the file is a gig. It doesn't make any difference to me, because I've got a fast enough connection to download it very quickly, and it's not a big deal.
And half the thing about Google, it's all cloud-based. So, okay, we do actually work with our files in a tangible way. But for the average person, potentially, if you're just recording a meeting and then it will just automatically save in your Google Drive, you could still share that to people. And basically, as long as you have storage space within your Google Drive, within reason, it doesn't really matter how big the file size is. And
I completely agree, yeah.
And what you were saying about the computing power of producing said recording, I kind of get that, but I also kind of question what's the average length of a recorded Google Meet? Because if they're all 20 minutes or so, like, is it that big a deal?
Yeah.
Sure, if they're all hours and hours long, then I would understand that a bit more, but I'd be a bit surprised if people are recording a Google Meet that is hours and hours.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. And I think as well, compared to what they're processing for YouTube, I don't think Google Meet is going to make much difference. But hey, I'm not Google, so I don't know what their statistics are. What's the getting started here, please, Adam?
Okay, so for the end users, screen shared content for meeting recordings will be 1080p by default, and you can visit Google's Help Center if you'd like to learn more about turning meeting recordings on or off for your organization. For the end users out there, if it has been enabled by your admin, you can visit Google's Help Center if you'd like to learn more about meeting recordings and who can record meetings, and there's links within our document for those.
Great, thanks, Adam. What's the rollout pace and availability here, please?
Okay, so a rapid release and scheduled release. There's a gradual rollout, so potentially up to 15 days for feature visibility, which started on October the 3rd. And this is going to be available to Google Workspace Business Plus, Business Standard, Education Plus, Enterprise Essentials, Enterprise Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Starter, and their teaching and learning upgrade customers.
Lovely, so there's quite a lot of availability there. Thanks, Adam. What's the next update, please?
Up next, Google Docs. I do like this update. I think it's quite cool, actually. So you can now build content quickly in Google Docs with instant access to building blocks and more. So Google is introducing new buttons at the top of your Google Doc that enable you to quickly insert building blocks for different types of content, such as meeting notes, email drafts, and more, all directly into your document. Simply click your preferred button or choose the At More option to see options like drafts for a calendar event or a code block.
This is lovely. So again, following on from that sort of smart chip feature that Google really, really likes and we really like, this is, again, just such a nice quality of life improvement update, which you and I both like, those sorts of updates. This is really nice to see. There's a lovely moving graphic here showing an example of what it looks like when an email draft goes in. I think this is very, very useful for people. There's a little bit about additional details here, right, Adam?
I really like this update. I think that's great. I still don't fully understand why people would compose an email draft in a Google Doc instead of just compose it as a template.
I think it's mainly to do with collaborating. I think that's the main reason, is because it's if a few of you are writing an email. I know, right? We only write our own emails, so we don't collaborate on them. But I think it's if a few people are collaborating on an email. I think that's the main advantage of them being able to put it into Google Docs.
That makes perfect sense. Because I was like, just compose your email and just don't send it. Just save it as a draft. But no, collaboration, that makes much more sense. Okay, so the rows of buttons will only appear at the top of newly created or empty Google Docs, meaning you will not see the options in documents with existing content. Selecting the At More option will display a menu allowing you to search for docs features and leverage the power of Smart Canvas.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so that's good for people to know if they want to put it in their existing documents. What's the getting started, rollout pace and availability here, please?
Okay, so getting started. So for the admins, there's no admin control for this feature, but for the end users, this feature will be on by default. So probably can't turn it off. The rollout pace. So rapid release, there's a gradual rollout, which started on October the 3rd. Scheduled release, there's also a gradual rollout, which is starting on October the 18th. And this update is going to be available to all Google Workspace customers and users with a personal Google account.
Yep, makes sense. Available to everybody across the board. What is the next update, please, Adam?
Okay, up next, we have a marketplace update. So it can now allow users to install and run any internal app from Marketplace. Google is introducing a new admin setting to control whether users can install and run any internal app from the Google Workspace Marketplace, along with their allow list third-party apps. This added admin feature gives more control to customize users' access to trusted internal apps based on the company policies, security requirements, and users' needs. Currently, admins can leverage Marketplace apps access settings to choose to allow users to access all internal and third-party apps or specific allow-listed internal and third-party apps published in the marketplace. Many organizations build internal apps and add-ons specifically for their organization, and this added admin control saves admins time by allowing them to distribute all internally built apps with a single click, rather than managing and allow-listing each one.
Really, really nice improvement, quality of life improvement for any admins out there who are using internal apps on Marketplace. So great to just be able to say, hey, it's a trusted app because it's us, it's our internal one, let's just allow all of them. Anybody who's using that, I'm sure, is going to be thinking, oh, God, thank goodness, I don't need to keep allowing it to the, adding it, to the allow list. Very, very nice. What's the additional details here, Adam?
So with this new setting, admins can allow any internal app, but still limit the installation of third-party apps. Internal apps are apps that are privately published in your organization. And it does make sense that there are controls in place, but equally it kind of makes sense that that your own apps are allow listed because they all stemmed from within your organization. So it does make sense that you do have access to them.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I think this is really, really nice. What's the getting started here?
Okay, so for the admins out there, this setting will be off by default and can be enabled by going to the Google Admin Console, Menu, Apps, Google Workspace Marketplace apps, then Settings. You can also visit Google's Help Center if you'd like to learn more about managing marketplace apps on your allow list. For organizations using API controls to restrict app access to their data, consider checking the Trusted Internal Apps setting to allow API access for all internal apps. And I've added a lovely link in our document for that. For the end users out there, if enabled by your admin, you can install any internal app from the marketplace by going to workspace.google.com/marketplace/my domain apps.
Lovely. Thank you for all that information, Adam. And there's a lovely graphic in here as well for anybody who wants to see what that setting looks like. What's the rollout pace and availability here, please?
Rapid release and scheduled release. There is an extended rollout, so potentially longer than 15 days for feature visibility, which started on October the 4th. And this update is available to all Google Workspace customers.
It's really nice to see. Thank you, Adam. I think we've got another admin update, haven't we, next?
We have another admin update. So I can now review... I say an update. I think this one's more of a notification, actually, for the admins. Review and approve your contacts delegates by November the 12th, 2023. So back in May 2023, Google announced several changes for contacts delegates, specifically that they will be able to update labels and manage other contacts. Google would like to share an updated timeline for this change and provide additional clarity around what's required of users. So as part of this change, you must review and approve your existing delegates by November the 12th, 2023, or they will lose their delegate status. Admins can use their admin SDK API to delegate access on behalf of their users. Note that using this method takes care of reapproving delegators on behalf of the delegator. For many customers, administrative support for managing inboxes is business critical. This includes making sure that contacts are properly sorted and labelled. Since updating labels and managing other contacts are new functions for delegates, it's important that you review existing delegates to ensure that access to these features is appropriate.
Okay, it's a really good notification for people to know. So anybody out there who has users or is themselves using delegate access on contacts, very important to know that they need to approve that by that date, which is November the 12th, 2023, which is coming up very rapidly, in order for them to not lose access. So very important for anybody who knows that that's going on to notify their users, or any admins to go in there and do that on behalf of their users if that's the sort of thing that you do. So it's a very, very good notification. I think there's quite a lot of information here, isn't there, about additional details and getting started, isn't there, Adam?
So does this change impact Gmail delegation? No, it does not. So while similar functionality is available in Gmail, there are no changes or impacts for Gmail delegates. This change is specific to contacts and contacts delegates only. Getting started for this, so for the admins out there, you can use Google's developer documentation to learn more about using the admin SDK API to delegate access, or visit Google's Help Center to learn more about delegating a user's contacts, and I've added links to that within our document. For the end users out there, for those that are delegators, you'll see a prompt in contacts to review those who currently have contacts delegation for your contacts, and beginning November the 13th, 2023, those with assigned and approved delegation will be able to update labels and manage other contacts on your behalf. If you do not submit your approval, delegates will lose their access. So to get started, for the end users that are delegates out there, they can visit Google's Help Center to learn more about using the updated labels and managing other contacts for delegators, and links to that are in the document.
Great, thank you, Adam. That's really good information, and like we said, very important to approve that access if you have it, otherwise you're going to lose it. So approve it or lose it. What's the rollout pace and availability here, please?
Okay, so rollout. So, as mentioned, you must review and approve delegates by November the 12th, 2023, and this update impacts all Google Workspace customers.
Okay, that's fantastic. The only thing I would say on this is it would be nice if Google just ping through a notification to anybody who needed to approve that delegate access. That's the only thing that I would say about this. Maybe send them an email or just ping through a notification somewhere.
Yeah, there might be one or two people out there that do not listen to this podcast, and so it would be quite nice. I know, right? Don't tell everyone, but there may actually be one or two people not listening. And so, yeah, if they just had something ping through or pop up on their screen somewhere just to say, hey, this is something that you need to do, especially as it is by November the 12th. So that's only a few weeks away, really. It's not that long away. So then, unless they were already in the know about this, then I could understand how it would be quite easy for them to miss this.
Yeah, I think you're talking crazy, Adam. I don't think anybody can resist the beautiful, soothing sound of our voices. Thank you very much, Adam. What have we got last, please?
Okay, so finally from us this week, we have a Google Drive update. So, new view in Google Drive shows recent activity in one place. So Google is rolling out a new view in Google Drive that shows all pending access requests, recent comments, and approvals for files to help you quickly see recent activity and take action all in one place. This new view will become a standalone page that's accessible from the left-hand navigation panel within Drive. And I'm sorry, there was a lovely moving graphic to demonstrate this, but our document didn't like it. So I'm afraid I have not been able to put that in, sorry.
Oh no, that's a bit of a shame. I was just going to say, it's such a shame there isn't a graphic showing this. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this looks like. This is, again, quality of improvement update, which is just going to be just so useful for people to see, because I've often thought this about Google adding in these features, like they've added in these kind of request approvals and things like that, but the sort of notification area for that is quite lacking, because you sort of get an email ping through, but if you miss that or you don't action that, it's quite difficult to then see where those documents are that need your approval or need any changes or comments or anything like that. I always use the notification feature on any documents I want to keep an eye on. I know you do that as well, Adam, in like a spreadsheet or something, so that it pings you through when somebody makes some changes to it or does something to it. But then you can often get bombarded with notifications because it's like somebody just typed one letter and it's like, oh my God, somebody's made a change to it.
Notifications like that are definitely a double-edged sword, because I think you mentioned it before, actually. That would be great if you basically lock documents a bit more, because so often I open a document to view and I've accidentally clicked on something and one character has moved, and then boom, there's a notification. Then you maybe accidentally press your spacebar and there's another notification.
Yeah, you're completely right. And so I think putting this all into a view, and very interesting that Google have actually made it kind of a separate page as well. That hints to me that they're going to add some more to this. If they've kind of made it a separate page, I think they're going to add some more stuff into this in some future updates. Stay tuned to our podcast to hear all about that. And so this is really nice, and I'll be really keen to see this. Could you tell us how to get started with this then, Adam?
Okay, so for the admins, there is no admin control for this feature. However, for the end users, you navigate to Google Drive, which is drive.google.com. Click on Activity in the left-hand navigation. Then you could click on Manage Access to take action on your pending access requests. This will not appear if pending access requests do not exist. It'd almost be nice if it was just there all the time, just for your own sanity, just so you can click on it and see that there's no requests, instead of thinking that potentially you've missed one or something.
I agree.
Also, so if you have pending approvals assigned to you, they will appear in the approvals section. You can click on Review and then take action on your pending approvals. If you have comment-related activity in the last 30 days, you will see them in the comment section. Click on Open Comment to take action on your pending comments. Comments notifications appear if you are subscribed to the two notifications, participating in the specific comment thread, or mentioned in a comment within that file.
Lovely. That's fantastic. Thank you for that explanation, Adam. And what's the rollout pace and availability here?
Okay, so rapid release, there's an extended rollout for this one, which is started on October the 5th. Scheduled release, there's a gradual rollout, which is starting on October the 30th. And this update is available to all Google Workspace customers.
That's fantastic. I mean, we're on rapid release. I just had a little look and we don't have it available yet. But like it says there, it could be 15 days or longer. It's probably quite a big thing to push out because it's like a completely separate page. So yeah, we don't have it quite yet, but I'm sure when we've got it, Adam, we'll check that out and have a look at that. Thank you, as always, Adam. Well, that is it, everybody. That's everything that you need to know about all of the latest updates happening in the world of Google Workspace. Remember that this podcast is available in audio format from wherever you cast your pods, and also in video format on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/strawberry7. As always, thank you so much for joining us this week.
And we'll be back again next week with more updates.
Goodbye.
Bye!